Time does not wait. It does not negotiate. It does not care about your excuses. Every successful person, every millionaire, every athlete, every leader receives exactly the same 24 hours that you receive. The difference is never more time. The difference is better decisions. Every minute you waste today becomes a piece of the future you never get back. You cannot save time. You cannot borrow time. You cannot recover yesterday. You can only control what you choose to do right now. Most people believe they have a motivation problem. They don't. They have a time management problem. Because when you control your time, you begin controlling your habits. When you control your habits, you begin controlling your future. This audiobook is not about becoming busy. It is about becoming intentional. Because productivity is not doing more. Productivity is doing what matters most. Today, you will learn how disciplined people think about time, why average people stay trapped in endless distraction, and how every single hour can become an investment instead of an expense. Remember this throughout the entire audiobook. Time is life. Waste your time, and you waste your life. Protect your time, and you protect your future.
Like, comment, share, subscribe now.
Own every minute before someone else does. Part 1. Time is life. Look at the clock. Not tomorrow, not later, now. While you are listening to these words, your life is moving forward, second after second, minute after minute, hour after hour. Whether you choose to use those moments wisely or waste them completely, the clock keeps moving. That is the first truth. Time never stops. Time never waits. Time never asks if you're ready. It simply moves. And because it moves, your life moves with it. Most people think they need more motivation. They don't. Most people think they need more talent. They don't. Most people think successful people somehow discovered extra hours hidden inside the day. They didn't. Every human being receives exactly 24 hours. No exceptions. The wealthy, the poor, the educated, the uneducated, the confident, the insecure, the disciplined, the distracted. Everyone receives the same amount. That means time itself is never the problem. Management is. Priorities are. Discipline is. That is where lives begin to separate. One person wakes up with intention. Another wakes up with reaction. One decides what the day will become. Another allows the day to decide for them. The clock treats them equally. Life does not. You have a choice. Remember that. You have a choice. Every single morning, every single hour, every single minute, every single decision, you have a choice. That's the key. Time is life. Say it again. Time is life. Because every minute you spend is a minute of your life that disappears forever. Money can return. Health can improve. Relationships can heal. Skills can be learned. Businesses can recover. But 1 minute, gone forever. You cannot earn it back. You cannot negotiate for it. You cannot borrow tomorrow's time. You cannot relive yesterday's hours. Once they disappear, they belong to history. That changes everything, or at least it should. Imagine someone gave you $86,400 every morning. There's only one condition. Whatever you fail to spend wisely disappears forever at midnight. No savings, no carrying it forward, no second chance. Would you ignore it? Would you waste it? Of course not. Yet every single day you receive something far more valuable, 86,400 seconds. And unlike money, those seconds are worth infinitely more because they are pieces of your life. Time is life. Never forget that. Every minute matters. Say those words until they become part of how you think. Every minute matters. Not because every minute must be filled with frantic activity, not because you should never rest. Rest has purpose. Recovery has purpose. Reflection has purpose. The problem isn't rest. The problem is unconscious living, scrolling without purpose, complaining without action, waiting without preparation, dreaming without execution, talking without building, planning without beginning. That is where life disappears. Not in one giant mistake, but one wasted minute at a time. One distraction, one excuse, one delay, repeated thousands of times. Eventually, those small losses become years. People often ask why they never reached their goals. The answer is usually not dramatic. It wasn't one terrible decision. It was thousands of tiny ones. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, another hour tomorrow, another week next month, another year someday. Someday becomes never. You have a choice, right now, not tomorrow morning, not next Monday, not next January. Now. Because tomorrow is built from today's decisions. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Remember that. Every choice shapes tomorrow. The future isn't created in one magical moment. It is created by ordinary decisions repeated consistently. Wake up on time. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Read instead of scroll. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Exercise instead of making excuses. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Finish the difficult task before the easy one. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Protect your hours. Protect them the way successful people protect valuable investments, because they are valuable investments. Think about someone who constantly leaves their front door unlocked. Eventually, something valuable disappears. Your attention works exactly the same way. Leave it unprotected. Allow every notification, every interruption, every unnecessary conversation, every meaningless video, every pointless argument. Soon, your focus disappears. Your creativity disappears. Your ambition disappears. Your confidence disappears. Not because someone stole them overnight, because you gave them away one distraction at a time. Discipline defeats distraction. Say it again. Discipline defeats distraction, not motivation. Discipline. Motivation feels exciting. Discipline feels ordinary. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Motivation depends on emotion. Discipline depends on decision. And decisions build lives. Busy is not productive. Never confuse movement with progress. Someone can answer emails all day, attend meetings, reply to messages, organize files, watch tutorials, take notes, and accomplish nothing meaningful. Another person spends 90 focused minutes on the single task that matters most. That person moves forward. The first person simply stayed busy. Busy is not productive. Progress comes from focus. Focus creates freedom. One task, one priority, one meaningful objective. Complete it. Then move forward. Your calendar reveals your future. Look honestly at where your hours go, not where you hope they go, not where you imagine they go, where they actually go. Because calendars don't lie, schedules don't lie, habits don't lie. Excuses lie. Stories lie. Reality does not. If your calendar contains no learning, growth will be slow. If your calendar contains no planning, life becomes reactive. If your calendar contains endless distraction, your future reflects that distraction. Your calendar reveals your future. That is why successful people schedule important work before anything else. They don't hope to find time, they make time. They own their hours before someone else does. Because if you fail to plan your day, someone else will happily plan it for you. Emails, phone calls, social media, unexpected requests, random emergencies, other people's priorities. Soon, the day is over, and you wonder where it went. Successful people rarely ask that question. They already know, because they decided. Plan before you perform. Plan before you perform. Plan before you perform. That's the key. Planning creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. And results create belief. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need anyone's permission. You need a decision. You have a choice. Time is life. Every minute matters. Protect your hours. Prioritize what matters. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. And this is only the beginning, because understanding the value of time changes your thinking. Learning to control your priorities changes your life. In the next section, you'll discover why saying, "I don't have time," is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves, and how replacing that belief can permanently change the direction of your future. Own every minute before someone else does. Part 2. Stop saying, "I don't have time." There are 6 words that have quietly destroyed millions of dreams. I don't have enough time. People say them every day. They say them without thinking. They say them so often that they begin believing them. But those 6 words are rarely true. The truth demands responsibility. The truth removes excuses, and that is exactly why most people avoid it. Replace those 6 words with this sentence: I didn't make it a priority. Feel the difference. I don't have time to exercise. No, I didn't make exercise a priority. I don't have time to read. No, I didn't make reading a priority. I don't have time to build my business. No, I didn't make my business a priority. The second sentence is harder to say. Why? Because it puts responsibility where it belongs. On you. Not on the clock, not on your boss, not on your family, not on society. On you. You have a choice. Always remember that. You have a choice. That doesn't mean every choice is easy. It doesn't mean everyone has identical responsibilities. Some people work longer hours. Some people raise children. Some people care for aging parents. Some people face challenges others never experience. Life is not equally easy. But everyone still makes priorities within the time they have. That's the key. Your priorities reveal your future, not your intentions, not your dreams, not your promises, your priorities. People often tell you what matters to them, but their calendar tells a different story. They say health matters, yet they never move their body. They say family matters, yet they spend every evening distracted by a screen. They say financial freedom matters, yet they never learn new skills. They say personal growth matters, yet months pass without reading one meaningful page. Words are cheap. Actions are expensive. Time is where the payment happens. Every hour is a vote. Every decision is a vote. Every habit is a vote. You vote for the person you are becoming. Every choice shapes tomorrow. You cannot repeatedly invest your hours in distraction and expect a future filled with achievement. It doesn't work that way. The future always follows investment. Imagine two people. Both wake up at the same time. Both have similar jobs. Both dream about changing their lives. The first person finishes work, then spends 4 hours scrolling through endless videos, complaining, watching other people succeed, comparing, wishing, talking. Tomorrow looks exactly like today. The second person finishes work, exercises for 30 minutes, reads 20 pages, learns one new skill, plans tomorrow, sleeps on time. Nothing dramatic happens in one day. Nothing magical happens in 1 week. But 6 months later, their lives no longer look the same. One invested, one consumed, one created, one watched, one moved, one waited. Every choice shapes tomorrow. That is not punishment. That is cause and effect. Protect your hours, because someone is always trying to buy your attention. Companies compete for it. Applications compete for it. Advertisements compete for it. Entertainment competes for it. Algorithms compete for it. Why? Because attention creates profit. If they control your attention, they often control your time. If they control your time, they influence your future. That is why protecting your attention is no longer optional. It is survival. Every notification asks a question. Will you abandon your priority for mine? Think about that. Every buzz, every vibration, every alert, someone else is asking for your life, not just your attention, your life. Because time is life. If you give away 10 minutes, you gave away 10 minutes of your life. If you repeat that 50 times today, you gave away hours. You have a choice. Silence unnecessary notifications. Close unnecessary tabs. Walk away from unnecessary conversations. Stop opening your phone every time boredom appears. Boredom is not your enemy. Constant stimulation is. Great ideas often arrive in silence. Deep thinking requires space. Creativity needs uninterrupted attention. Focus creates freedom. Say it again. Focus creates freedom. People often believe freedom means doing whatever they want. Real freedom is different. Real freedom means controlling yourself. Real freedom means saying no to temporary pleasure so you can say yes to lasting success. That is difficult, very difficult. But difficulty is not the problem. Avoidance is. Every meaningful achievement asks for sacrifice. Every goal asks for discipline. Every dream asks for focused time. Nothing valuable grows without investment. Busy is not productive. Let's repeat that, because most people still confuse the two. Busy people often look impressive. Their schedule is full. Their phone never stops ringing. Their inbox overflows. Their meetings continue all day. They constantly say they are exhausted, but exhaustion does not automatically mean progress. Activity is not accomplishment. Motion is not achievement. You can spend all day climbing a ladder. If the ladder is against the wrong wall, you simply become tired faster. That's why priorities matter more than effort. Hard work is powerful. The answer is simple. They spent their life building everyone else's priorities, not their own. You don't have to become selfish, but you must become intentional. There is a difference. Kind people can still protect their time. Generous people can still establish boundaries. Respectful people can still say no. In fact, the people who respect time the most often create the greatest value for others because they finish meaningful work, because they become reliable, because they become disciplined, because they keep promises, especially the promises they make to themselves. That changes confidence. Confidence is not created by positive thinking. Confidence grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. You said you would wake up early. You did. Confidence grows. You said you would finish the project. You finished. Confidence grows. You said you would stop wasting evenings. You stopped. Confidence grows. Self-respect is built through action, not affirmation. Action. That's the key. Every promise kept becomes another brick in the foundation of your identity. Eventually, you stop saying, "I hope I become disciplined." Instead, you say, "I am disciplined," because your actions prove it, not once, repeatedly, every day. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Protect your hours. Time is life. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. And remember this truth as we move forward. The world will always demand more of your attention. Your future depends on whether you decide to keep it. In the next part, you'll learn how disciplined people plan their days before the day begins and why controlling the first hour often determines the outcome of the next 23. Focused, hard work is transformational. Protect your hours. Before accepting a task, ask yourself one question: does this move my life forward? If the answer is yes, do it with full attention. If the answer is no, question why you're doing it. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everything deserves your focus. Not everything deserves your life. Because remember, time is life. Learn to become comfortable disappointing people. This is difficult. Many people waste years trying to avoid making others uncomfortable. They agree to everything. They attend every event. They answer every request. They become available for everyone, except themselves. Eventually, they wonder why their dreams never became reality.
Part 3. Plan before you perform. Most people wake up already behind, not because they overslept, not because they lack intelligence, not because they are incapable. They wake up behind because they begin the day without direction. The alarm rings. They reach for their phone. Messages, notifications, news, social media, emails, videos. Within 5 minutes, they are no longer living their own day. They are reacting to everyone else's. That is how control is lost, not through one catastrophic decision, through dozens of tiny reactions. Reaction becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. You have a choice. Every morning, before the world speaks to you, speak to yourself. Before someone else's priorities enter your mind, choose your own. Before someone else's agenda fills your calendar, fill it yourself. Plan before you perform. Say those words again. Plan before you perform. Successful people do not spend the morning asking, "What should I do today?" They already know. The decision was made before the day began. That removes hesitation. That removes confusion. That removes unnecessary thinking. Every decision you postpone drains mental energy. Psychologists often call this decision fatigue. You don't need to remember the term. You only need to understand the principle. The more unnecessary decisions you make, the less energy you have for important ones. Think about your morning. What clothes should I wear? What should I eat? Should I exercise? Should I check my email? Should I start working? Should I scroll for 5 minutes? 5 minutes becomes 20. 20 becomes 40. Suddenly, the morning has disappeared, not because time moved faster, because indecision consumed it. Protect your hours. Successful people reduce unnecessary decisions. They prepare, they organize, they simplify. Not because they love routines, because routines protect energy. Every habit removes a decision. Every decision removed creates more focus. Focus creates freedom. Imagine driving through a city without a destination. You might enjoy the scenery, But eventually you realize something. Movement is not progress. You have traveled, but you have not arrived. Many people live exactly this way. Busy, moving, occupied, always doing something, yet never reaching what truly matters. Busy is not productive. Never forget that. You can fill every hour, still accomplish nothing meaningful. Planning forces honesty. Planning asks difficult questions. What actually matters today? What can wait? What deserves my best attention? What is merely noise? These questions change everything, because life is built on priorities, not possibilities.
Everyone has possibilities. Only disciplined people act on priorities. That is the difference. Let's talk about the first hour. The first hour is powerful, not magical, powerful. It creates momentum. If your first hour is filled with distraction, distraction usually follows. If your first hour is filled with purpose, purpose usually follows. Win the morning. Increase your chances of winning the day. Lose the morning, the rest of the day becomes recovery. Think of an airplane. Most of the fuel is used during takeoff. Direction is established early. Small changes at the beginning create enormous differences later. Your morning works the same way. Wake with intention. Move your body. Drink water. Read something valuable. Review your priorities. Begin your most important work. You don't need a complicated routine. You need a consistent one. Consistency beats complexity every single time. People love complicated systems, color-coded planners, expensive productivity apps, fancy notebooks, perfect calendars. None of those guarantee results. Execution does. A simple plan followed every day will outperform a perfect plan that never begins. You don't need perfection, you need repetition. You have a choice every morning. Choose preparation over procrastination. Choose focus over distraction. Choose discipline over comfort. That is the key. Many people believe planning removes freedom. The opposite is true. Planning creates freedom. Without a plan, everything feels urgent. With a plan, only the important remains. Without a plan, other people interrupt your day. With a plan, you know what deserves your attention. Without a plan, you chase opportunities. With a plan, you create them. Your calendar reveals your future. Look at tomorrow's schedule. Does it reflect the person you want to become or the person you have always been? Your future self is already visible, not in your imagination, in your daily routine. Want better health? Where is exercise on your calendar? Want greater knowledge? Where is reading? Want financial growth? Where is skill development? Want stronger relationships? Where is uninterrupted family time? If it isn't scheduled, it is often forgotten. Not because it isn't important, because life is noisy. The urgent constantly attacks the important. That is why planning matters. You decide what wins before the battle begins. Every evening, spend a few minutes preparing tomorrow. Not 30 minutes, not 1 hour. Just enough. Write your 3 most important tasks. Not 30, 3. Why only 3? Because priorities lose meaning when everything becomes a priority. Choose the work that creates the greatest impact. Then begin with the hardest one. Your mind is strongest before it becomes exhausted. Use that strength wisely. Don't waste your best mental hours on easy work. Don't spend your highest energy answering messages that could wait. Protect your peak performance for meaningful work. Protect your hours. Many people reverse this. They spend the morning reacting, then attempt difficult work in the afternoon. By then, their attention is scattered, their energy is lower, their patience is thinner, their willpower is fading. Then they wonder why progress feels difficult. The answer isn't ability, it's timing. Plan before you perform. Discipline defeats distraction. Let's talk about interruptions. Interruptions are expensive. Even a short interruption can take several minutes to recover from mentally. One notification, one unnecessary conversation, one quick glance at social media. Your attention breaks. Then your brain must rebuild focus again and again and again. Protect your attention like it is treasure, because it is. Attention creates achievement. Scattered attention creates average results. Deep attention creates extraordinary work. The people you admire are not necessarily more talented. Often they simply spend more uninterrupted time doing meaningful work. That is the secret most people ignore. Not more hours, better hours. Time is life. That is the foundation. But planning alone is not enough. Even the best plan can be destroyed by one invisible enemy: distraction. And in the next part, you'll discover how distractions quietly steal your dreams 1 minute at a time, and how disciplined people eliminate them before they eliminate their future. Discipline defeats distraction. There is an enemy that rarely announces itself. It does not knock on your door. It does not introduce itself. It does not warn you that it is about to steal your future. It simply appears. Quietly, repeatedly, patiently. Its name is distraction. Most people think distraction is harmless. It was only 5 minutes. I just checked one notification. I'll get back to work in a minute. But distraction never asks for your entire day. It asks for one moment, then another, then another. Eventually, those moments become months, then years, then a lifetime of unfinished potential. That is how dreams disappear. Not with an explosion, with tiny interruptions repeated every day. Time is life. Never forget that. Every distraction costs more than time. It costs momentum. It costs clarity. It costs confidence. Imagine pushing a heavy boulder uphill. The first push is difficult. The second is easier. The third creates momentum. Now imagine someone stops you every 30 seconds. Push, stop, push, stop, push, stop. How long would it take to reach the top? Much longer. Not because you became weaker, because momentum was constantly interrupted. Your mind works the same way. Deep work requires uninterrupted attention. Excellence requires uninterrupted attention. Growth requires uninterrupted attention. Focus creates freedom. That is why highly disciplined people protect their focus more fiercely than most people protect their money, because they understand something. Money follows value. Value follows focus. Without focus, potential stays trapped inside your mind. You have ideas, but they never become reality. You have plans, but they remain unfinished. You have goals, but they slowly become regrets. Discipline defeats distraction. Say it again. Discipline defeats distraction. Not once, every day, every hour, every decision. Look honestly at your own life. How often do you interrupt yourself? No one forced you to check your phone. No one forced you to refresh social media. No one forced you to watch one more video. No one forced you to answer every notification immediately. You made those choices. That truth may feel uncomfortable. Good. Growth often begins with discomfort, because once you admit you created the habit, you also realize you can replace the habit. You have a choice. Always. Every notification is a question. Every distraction is an invitation. Every interruption asks, Will you trade your future for this moment? Most people answer yes without realizing it. Successful people pause. They ask a different question. Does this deserve my attention right now? If the answer is no, they move on. Simple. Not easy. Simple. Protect your hours. Attention is like sunlight. When scattered, it warms. When concentrated, it can start a fire. Your attention works the same way. Scattered attention produces average results. Focused attention creates extraordinary results. Think about a magnifying glass. Hold it under the sun. Nothing happens at first. Keep it steady. Keep it focused. Soon, the light becomes powerful enough to ignite paper. The sunlight never changed. The focus did. Your potential has always existed. What is missing is concentration. Focus creates freedom. Freedom from unfinished work. Freedom from constant stress. Freedom from feeling overwhelmed. That is real freedom. Let's talk about multitasking. Many people wear multitasking like a badge of honor. I'm doing 5 things at once. No, you are switching between 5 things. Each switch costs attention. Each switch costs energy. Each switch slows progress. Imagine trying to read 5 books at the same time. 1 page from the first, 1 page from the second, 1 page from the third. Would you finish faster? Of course not. You would simply create confusion. Your work deserves your full attention. Your family deserves your full attention. Your health deserves your full attention. Whatever you choose to do, be fully present. That is the key. 1 task, 1 mind, 1 purpose. Finish, then move forward. Busy is not productive. Many people confuse constant activity with meaningful achievement. They spend the day answering messages, checking updates, organizing files, talking about plans, researching endlessly, preparing forever. Yet they never complete the one task that actually changes their life. Action creates momentum. Preparation has value, but preparation without execution becomes procrastination wearing a professional disguise. You don't need another productivity video. You don't need another notebook. You don't need another app. You need action, right now. 1 step, then another, then another. Small actions repeated daily become extraordinary results. People underestimate consistency because it looks boring. Success often looks boring. Wake up, work, improve, repeat. Wake up, work, improve, repeat. There are no fireworks, no dramatic music, no audience applauding, just quiet discipline, day after day, month after month, year after year. Eventually, people call it talent. It wasn't talent, it was consistency. Discipline defeats distraction. Protect your environment. Most people focus only on willpower. Willpower matters. Environment matters more. If your phone sits beside you while you work, it will call your attention. If the television stays on, it will pull your eyes. If unnecessary tabs remain open, they will tempt you. Don't fight temptation every minute. Remove it. Successful people design environments that make success easier. Place the book where you will see it. Prepare your workspace the night before. Keep distractions out of reach. Make productive choices obvious. Make distracting choices difficult. That is wisdom. Do not rely on feeling motivated. Rely on systems. Systems continue working after motivation disappears. Let's talk about saying no. Many people fear this simple word, no. They think saying no is rude, selfish, unkind. But every yes has a hidden cost. Every yes consumes time. Every yes consumes attention. Every yes consumes energy. When you say yes to something unimportant, you automatically say no to something meaningful. That project, that workout, that book, that conversation with your family, that hour of focused work. You cannot give your time away endlessly and still expect your dreams to survive. Protect your hours. The people who respect your future will respect your boundaries. Those who become angry whenever you protect your time often benefited from your lack of boundaries. Remember that. You do not need everyone's approval. You need your own respect. You don't need their permission. You need your decision. That is the key. Every minute matters. Every interruption has a cost. Every focused hour has a reward. The question is simple. What will you choose? Distraction or discipline? Comfort or growth? Reaction or intention? You have a choice every single day, every single hour, every single minute. Choose wisely, because every choice shapes tomorrow. Time is life. Protect your hours. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. And now that you've learned how to defend your attention, the next step is even more important. In the next part, you'll discover why routines, not motivation, create lasting success, and how small daily habits quietly build an extraordinary life while everyone else waits for the perfect moment. Part 6. Protect your mornings and learn the power of no. How you begin your morning matters more than most people realize. The first hour is not just another hour. It is a foundation, a direction, a declaration. It tells your mind who is in control, you or your distractions. Most people lose the day before they even get out of bed. The alarm rings, their hand reaches for the phone, not because they planned to, because it has become automatic. One notification becomes 5, 5 become 20, 20 become an hour. Their mind is now filled with everyone else's opinions, everyone else's problems, everyone else's priorities, before they have even considered their own. And then they wonder why they feel rushed, why they feel overwhelmed, why they feel like they are always catching up. The answer started before their feet touched the floor. Protect your mornings. That is not just advice, it is a discipline. Time is life. The first hour of your day deserves your best attention. Not because mornings are magical, because mornings are quiet. Before the noise arrives, before the interruptions begin, before the demands increase, you have an opportunity to choose your direction. You have a choice every morning. You can begin with purpose, or you can begin with reaction. The choice is yours. Think about an archer. Before releasing the arrow, they aim, carefully, patiently. If the aim is wrong, the target is missed. Your morning is your aim. The rest of your day is the arrow. Aim well. Many people tell themselves, "I'll start working after I check a few things." Those few things rarely remain few. The human brain loves novelty. Every new message feels important. Every update feels urgent. Most of them are neither. Urgent is not always important. Important is not always urgent. Learn the difference. A ringing phone feels urgent. Building your future is important. An unexpected email feels urgent. Improving your skills is important. A trending topic feels urgent. Developing your character is important. Successful people know the difference. They protect the important before reacting to the urgent. That's the key. Imagine beginning every morning with these simple questions. What matters most today? What one task would make this day successful? What can wait? Who do I want to become today? These questions create clarity. Clarity creates action. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Protect your hours. Let's talk about saying no. One small word, 2 letters, yet for many people, it is one of the hardest words to say. Why? Because people want to be liked. They want approval. They want everyone to think they are helpful, kind, available, reliable. There is nothing wrong with kindness. There is nothing wrong with helping others. But kindness without boundaries becomes self-neglect. Helping everyone else while abandoning your own purpose is not balance. It is sacrifice without direction. Every yes costs something. Think about that. Every yes has a price. If someone asks for 1 hour, they are asking for 1 hour of your life, not just 60 minutes. 60 minutes that can never return. Time is life. That is why successful people never say yes automatically. They pause, they think, they ask, does this align with my priorities? If the answer is yes, they commit fully. If the answer is no, they decline respectfully. Not angrily, not arrogantly, simply, clearly, respectfully. No. You do not need to explain every decision. You do not need to defend every boundary. You don't need their permission. You need your own commitment. Many people fear disappointing others, but ask yourself something. How many times have you disappointed yourself? How many mornings did you promise to wake up early, then press snooze? How many evenings did you promise to read, then watch television instead? How many Mondays became next Monday? How many goals became someday? Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken trust. The most important relationship in your life is the one you have with yourself. If you cannot trust your own word, confidence begins to disappear. Confidence is not built by compliments, it is built by consistency. Every promise you keep becomes proof. Proof that you are dependable. Proof that you are disciplined. Proof that you can finish what you start. That is how identity changes. Not overnight, one decision at a time. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Some people will not understand your boundaries. That is okay. Some people benefited from your constant availability. When you begin protecting your time, they may become uncomfortable. Do not confuse their discomfort with your mistake. You are not responsible for everyone's expectations. You are responsible for your own direction. Protect your hours. Let's imagine 2 different lives. The first person says yes to everything. Every invitation, every request, every interruption, every unnecessary meeting, every random phone call. At the end of the year, they are exhausted, busy, overwhelmed, yet very little has changed. The second person chooses carefully. They protect their mornings. They protect their evenings. They protect their focus. They say yes only when it truly matters. At the end of the year, their health has improved. Their knowledge has expanded. Their business has grown. Their confidence is stronger. Why? Because they learned a simple truth. Every yes is also a no. When you say yes to distraction, you say no to discipline. When you say yes to procrastination, you say no to progress. When you say yes to comfort, you often say no to growth. Choose wisely. You have a choice. There is another habit that steals mornings. Waiting. Waiting to feel motivated. Waiting for the perfect mood. Waiting for ideal conditions. Stop waiting. Perfect conditions do not exist. There will always be noise. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be obstacles. Action comes first. Motivation often follows. Think about a train. It takes tremendous effort to start moving. Once it gains momentum, movement becomes easier. You are the same. The hardest part is beginning. Once you begin, progress becomes possible. That is why successful people focus on starting, not finishing. Just starting. Open the book. Write the first sentence. Take the first step. Lift the first weight. Make the first phone call. Momentum will help with the rest. Discipline defeats distraction. Every minute matters. Protect your mornings like they are sacred, because they are. Not because of the time itself, because of what that time becomes. A strong morning often creates a strong afternoon. A strong afternoon often creates a strong evening. A strong evening prepares tomorrow's morning. The cycle repeats. This is how great lives are built, not through occasional heroic effort, through daily disciplined choices. Time is life. Protect your hours. Plan before you perform. Prioritize what matters. Busy is not productive. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. Every choice shapes tomorrow. The next lesson may be the most practical of all, because even if you protect your mornings and guard your focus, you still need a system that keeps you moving forward every single day. In the next part, you'll learn how deadlines create urgency, why reviewing each day honestly accelerates growth, and why waiting for the perfect moment is one of the greatest lies that keeps people trapped in an average life. Part 7. Create urgency, review your days, and stop waiting for perfect timing. There is a strange thing about time. When you believe you have plenty of it, you waste it. When you know it is limited, you protect it. That is human nature. Give someone 1 week to finish a simple task. Many will wait until the last day. Give that same person only 1 hour. Suddenly, they become focused. Suddenly, distractions disappear. Suddenly, they discover energy they didn't know they had. The work did not change. The deadline did. That is the power of urgency. Deadlines create direction. Deadlines create focus. Deadlines force decisions. Without a deadline, the mind keeps negotiating. I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow. I still have time. Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. And eventually you look back with regret. Not because you lacked ability, because you lacked urgency. You have a choice. You can treat today like it matters, or you can assume there will always be another opportunity. No one is promised tomorrow. That is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create awareness. Time is life. Treat it accordingly. Many people think pressure is the enemy. It isn't. Unnecessary pressure is harmful. Purposeful pressure creates growth. Think about an athlete. Training has structure. Training has goals. Training has deadlines. Competition has a date. Because without a finish line, intensity disappears. Your goals deserve the same respect. Do not simply say, I want to write a book. Say, I will write 5 pages before noon. Do not simply say, I want to get healthier. Say, I will walk for 30 minutes at 7 o'clock. Specific action creates specific results. Vague intentions create vague outcomes. Plan before you perform. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing hope with strategy. Hope is valuable, but hope without action changes nothing. You can hope for success. You can hope for confidence. You can hope for financial freedom. But unless your calendar reflects those hopes, they remain wishes. Your calendar reveals your future. Look at your schedule. Does it contain time for learning? Does it contain time for building? Does it contain time for thinking? Does it contain time for improving? Or is every hour already owned by distraction? Your calendar never lies. It quietly records your priorities, and your priorities quietly build your future. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Now let's talk about something most people avoid: review. Not once a year, not once a month, every day. At the end of each evening, ask yourself honest questions. Not comfortable questions, honest questions. What moved my life forward today? What distracted me? Where did I waste time? Where did I keep my promises? Where did I break them? What will I improve tomorrow? That is how growth happens. Improvement begins with awareness. If you never measure your actions, you will repeat your mistakes without realizing it. Imagine driving across the country with your eyes closed. Impossible. Yet many people travel through life without ever looking at their own behavior. They blame circumstances. They blame luck. They blame timing. Rarely do they pause long enough to examine themselves. Growth begins the moment excuses end. That is the key. Do not judge yourself harshly. Judge yourself honestly. There is a difference. Honesty creates progress. Harshness creates shame. Shame rarely produces lasting change. Responsibility does. Say, I wasted 2 hours today. Good. Now you know. Tomorrow, protect those 2 hours. Say, I let distractions interrupt my work. Good. Tomorrow, remove the distractions. Awareness without action is useless. Action without awareness is directionless. You need both. Protect your hours. Let's talk about perfection. Perfection has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. People wait for the perfect business idea, the perfect opportunity, the perfect equipment, the perfect mood, the perfect timing. Meanwhile, someone less talented begins. Someone less experienced starts learning. Someone less confident keeps moving. Years later, the person who waited calls the other person lucky. Luck had very little to do with it. Action did. Perfect timing is an illusion. Life is never completely organized. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be interruptions. There will always be reasons to delay. If you wait until everything feels perfect, you will spend your life waiting. You don't need perfect conditions. You need consistent action. Think about a sailor. They cannot control the wind. They cannot control the waves. They cannot control the weather, but they can adjust the sails. Successful people think the same way. They stop complaining about conditions. They start adjusting their actions. You have a choice. Always. You may not control everything that happens, but you always control your response. That response shapes your future. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Many people ask, what if I fail? Ask a different question. What if I never begin? Failure teaches. Inaction only regrets. Every successful person has failed. Repeatedly. But they kept moving. Every mistake became information. Every setback became education. Every obstacle became experience. That is why they eventually succeeded, not because failure avoided them, because quitting didn't. Discipline defeats distraction. Discipline also defeats fear. Fear says, wait. Discipline says, begin. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? Discipline says, we'll learn. Fear says, you're not ready. Discipline says, action creates readiness. That is the mindset that changes lives. You don't need another year of preparation. You need another hour of focused work. You don't need another motivational speech. You need another completed task. You don't need permission. You need commitment. Protect your hours. Imagine looking back 10 years from now. Which version of yourself would make you proud? The one who kept waiting or the one who kept building? The answer is obvious. Now make your present decisions match that answer. Time is life. Every minute matters. Busy is not productive. Plan before you perform. Prioritize what matters. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. Protect your hours. Your calendar reveals your future. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Never forget these truths. They are simple, but simple does not mean easy. Simple principles practiced consistently create extraordinary lives. This chapter began with one idea: own every minute before someone else does. Now you understand what that truly means. It means protecting your attention. It means planning your days. It means building routines instead of waiting for motivation. It means saying no to what steals your future. It means creating urgency instead of depending on inspiration. It means reviewing your life honestly. It means acting before conditions become perfect. And above all, it means remembering one sentence that should guide every decision you make from this day forward. Time is life. Every minute you protect protects your future. Every promise you keep builds your character. Every focused hour moves you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. You have a choice right now, not tomorrow, not next Monday, not next year, right now. Choose discipline, choose focus, choose action, because no one else can own your time for you. And the moment you truly own your minutes, you begin to own your life. End of Chapter 1. Final closing. Take one last look at your life. Not at your dreams, not at your excuses, at your time. Because your time tells the truth. Your calendar tells the truth. Your habits tell the truth. Your future is not being created someday. It is being created today. Right now. One decision, one habit, one focused hour at a time. Remember what you've learned. Time is life. Every minute matters. Protect your hours. Plan before you perform. Busy is not productive. Focus creates freedom. Discipline defeats distraction. Your calendar reveals your future. Every choice shapes tomorrow. Never forget these words. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need better luck. You need better discipline. You don't need someone's permission. You need your own commitment. You have a choice every morning, every hour, every minute. That choice will either build the life you want or strengthen the life you're trying to escape. The clock will keep moving whether you act or not. Tomorrow will arrive whether you prepare for it or not. The only question is this: when tomorrow comes, will you own your time, or will your time continue to own you? Make your decision today. Not later, not someday, today. Because the life you dream about is not built in giant leaps. It is built in protected mornings, focused afternoons, disciplined evenings, and thousands of small decisions that nobody sees. This chapter is over. Your training is not. Carry these lessons into every hour of your day. Live them, repeat them, become them. Because when you master your time, you master your habits. When you master your habits, you master your future. And when you master your future, you finally become the person you were always capable of becoming. Now, take what you've learned and get ready for the next chapter. Because protecting your time is only the beginning. The next lesson will show you how to turn that time into unstoppable momentum, and how consistent action transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary one.